Hey, welcome back to the show, ladies and gents. Once again, we're always doing a series of interviews, getting some inspiration, getting some advice, getting some cool stories, and this is no exception. Tonight's guest is Derrick Pierce, the one, the only. Since December of 2007, he has stayed busy in the adult film and industry as well as behind the scenes. He's also been a martial artist instructor, fitness expert, and recently got into entrepreneur and realtor duties. So, welcome to the show, sir.
I guess I've been busy.
Busy enough. All right. So you're best known for having a calm persona in other interviews. Who would you say that you've worked with that's been able to match your charisma so far?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of entertaining people in the industry. That's my persona. I'm pretty
No one can
mellow
match you.
overall. Like I'm not really.
No.
I just, I'm just like there's big personalities. I mean, like the Phoenix Maries and people like that. I mean, they have very big personalities. But like I don't know. I always consider myself a lot more mellow. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. Like I'm there for the fun, I'm there for the jokes, I'm there for the business,
You're
but I
chill.
don't I don't need to be the center of attention. You know what I mean? Like
Fair
I
enough.
don't if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't care.
Well, that's even better. So you've been a pretty cool speaker on how guys can be blunt without being jerks, performers who take the business too seriously, and how honesty is everything. What are some factors to remind others that everyone can be positive and ensure a politics-free working environment, no matter their profession?
Um, I think people take themselves a little too seriously.
Just filter out.
Yeah, it's just like just relax, man. At the end of the day, it ultimately it's an us versus them unless you happen to be a millionaire that you've been keeping secret that I don't know about. We're kind of the same, we're operating in similar areas on similar frequencies. So like because you have a left view and I have a right view or vice versa, we're really not that far apart. We're just not, to use an analogy of like how it is to travel in California and SoCal. You might take the 101, I might take the 405. We both going north. Like you just chose a different way to get there, right? We all want similar things. Everybody wants success, everybody wants to make money, everybody wants to be happy. You want your family to be safe, you want your kids to have opportunities. There's nobody that's like, yeah, fuck that. That's bullshit. I don't want that. Nobody. Whether you lean right, whether you lean left, everybody wants the same things. It's just a matter of how we get there. So the problem isn't that we want different things. The issue is just how you get there, right? So if you can at least agree that we both want good things for the people around us, the rest is just semantics. You know what I mean? You like stocks, I like real estate. It's not that big of a deal. It means the divide is not that big.
Doesn't have to be, yeah. And we can teach all the Karens and even the stands of the world to just, hey, just go in your corner, think about what you're doing, and just behave. We
Yeah,
don't have
I
to necessarily say I refuse to be friends with them.
yeah. In today's day and age, where there's a lot of people who have a tendency to be entitled and feel that they're somehow special just because somebody told them that, it's ridiculous to me. I don't go woke left and I don't go conservative right. I believe in a woman's right to choose things. I also believe that I have a right to carry my gun and to defend my home and my person and my family accordingly. So trust, if you break into my house, you're gonna catch one in the ass. That's what it's gonna be.
Even
That being
better.
said, I'm also gonna respect your own personal rights to do what you want to do. I don't need you telling me, that I can't say this and I can say that. No, I actually can say those things. It's protected speech. So calm your ass down. You don't have dominion and neither do I. But we can always share opinions, that's what they are. They're opinions, they're thought processes.
Totally. All right. So you previously here's some dating advice for the fellas.
Uh,
You previously noted how you were dating upwards of like 9 famous models before you opened up your world to an actual personal relationship, as well as how your
oh,
business requires a rare kind of person who understands its complexities. What are some recent dating trends that you personally like to speak on now?
I don't think they've changed. all that much. Like, I mean, again, in a digital culture where, everything is online and it's all swipe left, swipe right, or like or dislike, or whatever the avenue of I think you're cool is. Um, I just encourage people to get out and talk to people. It's like an old school approach, right? Like, you know, I don't need to text you for 3 weeks before we meet. Fuck that. Like,
Right.
why? Why are we doing that? And if I'm not fucking you already, then why are we consistently sexting? I don't care. You texting me about what you want me to do to you is fun the first two times. After that, if we're not doing those things, then we ain't talking about shit. And
Right.
that's just kind of what it is. But I mean, as far as dating goes, like, you want to be different. I see on lifestyle sites and even dating sites the oddest shit. And it's like I always see, like, oh, if you don't like this political view or that political view, don't even click on my profile. Or, I'm triple vaxxed, and this is a must. Or like, God, are you fucking, like, these are dating protocols now? Like, we have to have similar political views. We have to be so in line with each other on everything. Like, we have to both like the same color shade of blue. Like, is that where it's at now? Like, nah. The differences make the people, right? So get outside your comfort zone. Find some things you like about some people and learn some things that you thought you might not like and you do can tolerate now. You know what I mean?
Find a
That's what it is.
challenge.
Yeah, that's what it is to be social with people. We don't have to, you know, be like-minded in every way. Then what are you doing? You're just dating a person in the mirror with longer or shorter hair, I guess. I don't,
Right.
there's no point.
Oh
So,
man.
I mean, and dating these days is, from what I can see. I mean, I'm married now, but we're still kind of out and about. We're both in lifestyle to a degree. Um, it, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Dating fucking sucks right now. Like, you in order to connect with somebody, I it's tough. It's really, really hard because, like I said, everything is swipe left, swipe right. So to develop an accord with somebody is virtually non-existent. You have to pull it literally out of thin air, and they don't have to confront you, nor do you have to confront them. When I was younger and we'd be out, like, if I thought a girl was hot, like, I had to grab my nuts and go across the room and try and talk to her. You know what I mean? And if I didn't, then shit. It wasn't like, like, what's your IG? Like, are you fucking kidding me? What's your IG? Like, that's
My Instagram. Yeah.
like, yeah, that's your hook now, is like, let me follow you on Instagram. What are you, a fucking puppy? If you ask
Technology
her
has
for
made
her,
us dumb.
yeah, if you ask her for her IG, ask her for her phone number. Like, like, I don't, what, because you're gonna ask that anyway. So why are you trying to, like, take these little bullshit baby steps? Like, grow a pair and talk to somebody. And that goes for women too. Like, don't, it's the same culture, whatever gender you're choosing, they all have that same tiptoe around the thing. Like, oh, God forbid you get rejected. Like, it's okay. You'll live. You'll be all right.
Very good. You used to blog on GQ and BuzzFeed. Are there any other blogs you'd like to frequent around nowadays, or are they just oversaturated, you think?
We're still working on our podcast. We've
Smaller
gone
in the
on.
center.
Yeah. We've gone on again, off again. We've gotten so busy, with other endeavors in order to dedicate. I think we have, like, I don't know, 60 episodes, 70
A
episodes, something like
ton. Yeah.
that. We have a lot. And I like it. I think there should be more, like, straight talk. You know what I mean? Like, where you don't have to worry. Like, again, it kind of goes back to that, offended culture. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, be offended. I fucking dare you. I dare you to be offended and still live. You know, I say offensive shit all the time. Half the time, I'm not even being serious about it. I'm just saying it to be offensive because I want to elicit a reaction, and I want to have the conversation. People seem to be so afraid to have the conversation. I've been told on many occasions, "Oh my God, you can't say those things." The fuck I can't. Watch me. watch me say the shit, because that's just what creates conversation, and you can develop relationships, friendships and acquaintanceships and everything in between, like through potential discord. Like I can still disagree with you and respect you. You know what I mean? I don't have to dislike you because we don't agree. I like those tough conversations. I like political conversations. I like ethnically challenging conversations or gender challenging conversations. It's okay. We're all going to be fine. I promise you will not die by my words.
Swear. Yeah. Especially if it's a shock. I mean, that's literally the whole point, is to be shocking.
Yeah.
So you've had some fortunate career moves and got to work with some big names in your respective industry. What's been the biggest highlight? If you just had to sum up just one, it's like I would not take that back. It's like that was a special moment. I know
I
this
mean,
is not easy.
I mean, I've listen, I came into this industry at a time when it wasn't very easy to get in. I was kind of on the very tail end of like the veterans that actually had to, you know, like work to get in. A lot of the newer cats, although they may be good performers, didn't have to grind the same way that we did. Um, and they got chance after chance after chance after chance to prove themselves. And then maybe over time, they came into their own, which lucky for them. Um, so a lot of the experiences I've had have been actually really good. Even the not so good experiences are still a story to be told. So I mean, probably one of the coolest movies I've done is the Magic Mike movie, that just because it was so far off the beaten path. And when Brad Armstrong brought that to Wicked, they were like, are you sure you're shooting straight porn? It's 7 male leads and it's straight porn? Like, what? I don't know. I don't get it. And it was so much fun to shoot that. All the guys that were on the movie were fantastic,
And it's a
and
parody, so with naughty
it's
content. So
fucking hilarious, and
yeah,
it was done so well, and so cleanly done, and the resemblances and the scenes. I thought it would, we got robbed. Like when we didn't get all the awards that I had expected us to
at
get, like
AVN. Yeah.
yeah, we got robbed at that one. That's the only one I really feel like, slighted by, was that year, because that was a great freaking movie. It was just so original, and nobody had taken a jump to do something like that before. So I thought it was, real ingenious to try that, and that it worked. So I think that would definitely be, um, you know, towards the top of a highlight reel.
Nice. You joke that you're the Susan Lucci of porn. You still stand by
Oh
that
yeah,
amusing remark.
yeah. Well, no, most people don't know who Susan Lucci is.
Right.
So,
They don't watch soap operas.
yeah. The other term is, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Um, you
That's
know,
great.
like I've been nominated every year that I've been in this business, and I can count my wins on like one hand. And that's the irony of the business is, uh, I've talked to performers over the years for many years, and I literally know damn near everybody in the business. And they're like, I just want to, I want to do like good stuff, and I don't really care about the awards. You fucking liar! Shut up, you're lying. Okay, the only people who don't care about the awards are the ones who already have them. Okay,
Correct.
it's Manuel. Manny and I have talked 100 times. Mick Blue and I have talked 100 times, and they're like, well, it's not that big of a deal. Fuck you. You have 4 already. Of course you don't give a shit. I want bookends. I want one on this side and one on this side to hold a bunch of shit together, and then I'll be good. At this point, I don't care. It doesn't increase my financial revenues, right? It's
Right.
strictly for my ego, and I am 100% okay with that. I want the awards for my ego. That's it.
There you go. Get it. What's been the best company that you've worked for so far? You were doing Wicked and Kink and then a bunch of the other ones, but
If I had to choose just one company, it would be Kink, without a doubt. And
that
there's
was the
very
first
specific,
one. Yeah.
yeah, there's very specific reasons why. Number one, as far as for me, they have been the most consistent with the treatment of talent, as far as the quality goes. Not to say other companies have mistreated, although some of them have. I personally have never had a problem with Kink. They've always paid on time. They've always done every single thing they said they've ever done, that they would do. I've never had a negative experience on set with them ever. They've always been, excuse me, on the up and up. I've never felt like they were trying to be sneaky or trying to get more for their money, or you know what
Something
I mean,
didn't
like that.
add up, and you're like, wait a sec.
Yeah, never, never. But this business isn't really, it's governed by the companies because they're the ones who ultimately are producing, but it's really more about the director and production team, right? Because if you happen to direct and I shoot for you, I'm one of your guys, and whoever you go to, typically I work for them. So, if you go to Hustler, I work for Hustler. If you go to Wicked, I go to Wicked. If you go to Gamma, I go to Gamma because you go there. You're my line in. And so that's how it had always worked. Nowadays, because there's somewhat of a monopoly, between
Always.
the Vixens and the Gammas and Mind Geek and those
Reality
guys.
Kings, all those guys
Yeah,
buying each other.
they've all fly under very similar banners now, which is fine. They're still diverse, but you're working for one of those companies 9 times out of 10. Just depends on, again, what director they hire.
1000%. Man, so uh, are there any other scandals in the industry that have kind of rocked the business and that you just were having to remind others, hey, this company I hear is a little sketchy, and make sure they're not talking smack about you?
I've never had an altercation with anybody, but I'm the type that'll show up to your office. So, like I don't do hearsay, I don't do double talk. I will stand face to face with you and say whatever I say before I would ever speak about it behind your back.
Oh,
Um,
even better.
and I expect the same. And if I hear some shisty shit from somebody, trust that I'm gonna come see you, and we're gonna get it straight. Whatever that entails is whatever that entails. If it's just a conversation, then we can just have a conversation. If it needs to be handled a different way, we can do that too. But I don't do backbiting, I don't do backstabbing, and I don't do double talk. So as far as scandals go, like I don't. I mean, here's how I look at this business. Like there is a ton of backbiting, bullshit, and undercutting,
Oh yeah.
um, front, left, right, and center. But there's also a high level of protection within the business. Like I will fight tooth and nail for my other performers, and I would never put them on Front Street because even if we have some inter-industry issues, I don't make them public. This is my family. You can't talk shit about my family. I can. You can't. I will say fuck them, but if you say fuck them, then we have a problem. What I
Right.
mean? And that's kind of how I've always treated it. There's a company that I had a problem with the way they handled some shit, and it was sideways, and it had to do with some gender issues and how I was treated, by a female, and I would never put that company on Front Street, just because they were dead ass wrong in the way they handled it. Dead ass wrong. But I've already spoken to them. You know what I mean? And I got them on the phone, and they know exactly where I stand with it. And if they ever said anything sideways, I'll tear that bitch down. Like. So basically the short version is like, you keep my name out your mouth and I'll do the same. And we're all good. So I don't really. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff, within the industry. This person doesn't like that person, whatever. I'm too busy doing other shit. I don't have a lot of time. Like even today, like I'm got to be on set at 3. I'll be done, by I don't know 5:30 or 6, and then I go to my gym to work. Like you know what I mean. So there's not. I don't have time to get involved with that shit. I have too
No
many
one
other things.
does.
Yeah. No, a lot of people do. You'd be surprised. A lot of people have plenty of
Well,
time. That's how they get it caught up.
oh, oh, you better. Oh man. So what gyms do you still frequent and do training at, or are you based at home for right now?
No, I own a gym in Northridge, California. So I train out of there for the most part. Um, and then I've always been a member of like Gold's Gym in North Hollywood. And then there's a couple private gyms that I frequent. So
Nice.
yeah.
Any other inspiring fitness training stories or even hysterical celeb sightings that you care to share?
I mean, at Goes Gym in North Hollywood, like everybody from mainstream works out there, cameramen and script supervisors and makeup artists and talent and like actors, actresses, like everybody from I don't know, 50 Cent, Hulk Hogan,
Oh wow.
um, uh, who else? Tim Allen. Like the list is long of all the people that would work out there consistently. Um, but you just all kind of coexist. Nobody really trips. Like whatever. Like my conversation with 50 Cent when he used to work out at Gold's was like, "Hey, 50, how many more sets do you have on that bench?" Like, I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, not in a negative way, right? Like, I'm not trying to treat you different because you're somebody in that
Yeah.
regard. I'm trying to get my workout, man. Same as you, And they've all been all really, really cool people. So I don't really have, that kind of stuff.
All right, no, very cool. I could totally see you being like training someone for a big movie that they're doing.
Yeah, I've done that before. I used to trade pro MMA guys for a long time, and now a bunch of them own their own schools and have their own fighters, and so yeah, I've been around for a while, man.
Exactly. All right, so for newcomers, the industry's really rocked. So because now that everyone's doing the whole do-it-yourself thing, what are
Yeah,
some tips that you think they got to approach other than have good lighting and video?
you don't need good lighting, you don't need good video.
Just go for it.
You don't. I mean, I have an OnlyFans. My OnlyFans does okay. I shoot most of this shit on my phone because they don't give a shit if I'm shooting in 4K from you know uh whatever the top
It's
Sony
already a
camera.
low brow enough. It's just
Yeah.
like, okay, yep.
Nobody cares. They just care that they can see it. They care that they can function with it, and that's pretty much it. And the more real that it looks, that usually the happier they are. Um, and once in a while, I'll throw in like a fully done scene. Um, but there's one term that I've heard recently that I really caught me off guard is people coming from like OnlyFans and clips for sale and stuff like that. They call what we do mainstream. And I was on set just the other day, and she was like, "Oh, this is like my first mainstream thing," and I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, like mainstream." And I'm like, "Mainstream what?" And she goes, "Like porn. Like this is like first mainstream porn." I'm like, "There's a thing called mainstream porn." Like I didn't
Skinemax is dead, so I
I
don't know.
didn't, it didn't occur to me. I guess it makes sense if you're coming from, a fan-based platform like OnlyFans, Clip for Sale, and all those kind of things. I guess that makes sense, but it just caught me off guard because I was like, it's not, it's just porn. Like it's just you shoot amateur and I don't like per se, like this is just not amateur, but it's still porn. It's not mainstream. But that like is a real term that they use. And I found that pretty interesting.
I mean, I think it just goes back into the popularity contest. Is like I'm the
Sure.
cool kid now. People know what I am, but yeah, like you say, it's just like it's just there for fun,
Oh yeah,
entertainment.
absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
So, how did you train to get into your current entrepreneur and realtor side gigs?
Um, I mean, I've always done some light real estate. I've owned apartment buildings before and some duplexes and stuff like that. Um, so I learned a lot of shit the hard way, and it costs a lot of money to make mistakes. Um, but doing the gym thing, like I've always liked training people. It's just always kind of something that I've always been involved with, whether it was training fighters or teaching martial arts, or now back into the fitness side of things for the last like 6 years. Um, it's just something that I feel very comfortable with. I like working with people. I like watching people progress and do things they thought they couldn't do for whatever multitude of reasons. Um, and so it's very comfortable for me. And then the other stuff, it's you know y- I feel like you can't be, single-minded. I think anybody that's involved in any form of entertainment, I don't care if it's adult, if you're a singer, if actor, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like you have to continue to diversify. I got slammed, I don't know, at this point, like maybe 12 years ago and literally lost everything and
Oh shit.
had to start over. And when I say lost everything, I mean like I had like $1,000 to my name. Everything changed
Mm.
literally overnight. Um, And so I had, thousands of dollars in bills, car payments, and everything else, and had literally nothing. And I just kind of made a promise to myself that, that shit would never happen again. That I'm gonna do my best to, get a check over here, get a check over here, get a check over there, check over there. That way if something stops, I always have something, and ultimately, I think as you get older, you start thinking about things like legacy, and you want to build a legacy, for your offspring, and you want to be comfortable, even though I'm devastatingly handsome. That's not gonna last forever, and you had better wrap your head around the fact that you're not gonna be cute forever. And so once that happens, this business is gonna spit you out pretty quick, and that's okay. That's part of it. I just think a lot of people don't prepare for that. And so, you know, now I shoot because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the money, but now I shoot more because I want to, and then I get paid. And but it's still it's a fun gig for me now. I can run out and, you know, get some pussy and get paid and then go to work. And
Everyone's
I
happy. Yeah.
yeah, now I don't have to deal with nothing, So it's a good thing. But again, to diversify and start to build something that you can have for the next 30 years, that's the hook, that's the beast.
By all means, no, and that's good. So many just cannot be bothered to deal with the backup plan, and then they get so surprised when, like you say, it backfires. Something happens, some freak accident, and the next thing you
You
know,
just never know, man. You just never know.
I work security, and as a follow up, I just respond to so many open door houses on the market as well as apartments, and
Sure.
it just seems like so often, half the time, just apartments can be very cranky or just have just unacceptable residents. And
Yeah.
like you say, you have a I don't deal with any BS attitude. How did you approach a lot of that when you're just like, hey, the rent's due right here, right now, and you're making noise, supposed to have
Um,
fun.
well, yeah, I mean, you I just shoot straight with people, like this is what it is. If you think you're gonna, like I'll work with you, but if you think you're gonna pull one on me, you got another thing coming. Don't get the shit twisted. Like, I have no problem. A long time ago, I was really young, like in my early 20s. I rented an apartment from a guy who did not want to rent to me. And he told me straight up, he goes, look, you're young, you probably got a lot of friends and, you're probably about that party life. And I'm like, actually, I'm not really. But he goes, yeah, yeah, kind of like whatever. And he goes, I have property. This is my property. And he goes, and I just don't feel comfortable renting to you. And I'm like, I get it. Like, okay, that's cool. He may have bad experience before. And I said, if would it help if you like, talk to my mom, like, yeah, I'm not asking her to pay the bill or whatever, but like, would that help maybe put your mind at ease? And he was like, you could try. And he goes, but as of right now, like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, all right. So she talked to him. He called me back and he goes, so here's the deal. He was like, you give me first, last deposit. I know it's more than what you're supposed to do. I don't care. And he goes, and if there's any problems, he goes, what's going to happen is I'm going to come in, I'm going to change the lock and throw all this shit out the window. And he said, and I'll go to jail for trespassing, but you'll be locked out of the place. You won't be there anymore. And I was like, God damn, like, this guy's such a hard ass, But again, I understand it because he's just trying to protect his shit. And so I always knew where I stood with him, and he was always very fair, And so that's just, how I approach all business, like just be straight, be 100 with people, and there won't be a problem.
Right. No one has time for any problems. So,
Yeah.
well, anything you got coming up that you'd like to promote? Any other side businesses?
Uh, No, man. I mean, adult stuff's still popping. I'm most likely I'll be at AVN this year, and uh, you know, um, uh, a lot of the stuff I've been doing for Casey Calvert and
Nice.
uh, you know, um, Eli Cross and all of them from the programs that they're doing. They're really really cool projects. It's a little off the beaten path of normal quote unquote porn. So I really like what they're doing. And that's most of that stuff is like with Erica Lust and Gamma.
Mm.
Um, but Erica Lust is a really good company. Even if like their adult content is not up your alley kind of deal, it's still just a really good take on adult. You know what I mean? I love it because they're not afraid to try something different, and their sales seem to be embracing it. And so
Yeah, she's a
it's
good
something
filmmaker.
different.
She's
Fantastic.
pretty much an art house gal who happened to
Yeah,
choose an adult model.
exactly. And so, like I said, with companies like Erica Lutz, kind of again just trying to reframe and change the game. Like I'm very appreciative. So
Nice.
yeah, a lot of the projects I'd love to do more for them, and I think that is still on the menu.
Excellent. Well, if you ever get done with the business, have you considered doing even stand-up comedy or even just doing action or horror movies?
Sure, I would do all of those. I want to do stand up at least once, just once. Even if I bomb like a motherfucker, like I don't care. I just want to be like I did it one time. I feel like being a stand up comic and being an adult male performer are really similar.
Right? You gotta literally just be fearless.
It just, when things are good, they're fucking fantastic. And when things are bad, you can't close your eyes tight enough and the people are still there when you open them. So, you know, very similar in nature. So yeah, I would totally do that.
Stellar. Well, Mr. Pierce, it's been a delight having you on here, and we always appreciate having anyone with blunt energy.
Cool, man. It was my pleasure. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right.
We'll return after these messages.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
We let things pile up in the DVR, we add them to our queues, we wait for the DVDs and Blu-rays. We time shift. The Time Shifters Podcast. Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, superheroes, comedy, action, film, television, maybe some not-so-current events. Find us on iTunes or at timeshifterspodcast.com.
Cool thing about Blind Knowledge is we are in multiple countries. We are worldwide all across the globe. We are in the US, we are in the UK, we are in Canada, Germany, India, Japan. We're in Australia, y'all. BlindKnowledge.com. Now back to the feature presentation.
Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, all things that we love, all manga that were originally published in the legendary magazine Weekly Shonen Jump.
But not every series can run for 300 chapters and have a hit anime. This is David.
This is Jordan.
We're the hosts of Shonen Flop. Each episode we look at manga that ran in Jump that didn't quite make it.
We discuss what it did wrong, what it did right, how the series could have turned itself around, and ultimately, was it a flop or not?
We're on all your favorite podcast apps, and you can find us at shonenflop.com.
Keep on flopping, floppers.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a